First, I'd like to, introduce myself. Hello, good afternoon. It's Ryan, your boy. Hello, sir. I didn't want a video because, I'm just, I didn't want to blind you guys with my guaponess. Okay, first, the first thing I posted is the green areas and the water, which is, well, first of all, there is no water in the area. Like, there's no, like there's mostly landmarks and there's like no river, lakes, nothing. It's all buildings. Green areas, I really had to find like those green dots are like super like little trees. Since you said like I have to find like trees in the areas, those are like tiny trees. Which you gave me a suggestion. Most of some neighbors or some people really do put trees near the houses, and like some big corporations do like plant trees. But I think it's fake. Like the trees are not real. You know, I'm not sure if it's real or not, but then like they look too real, too fake, especially near the central. I don't think they're real trees. But then in the residential, it's mostly in the southeast area. Moving on for the boundaries. I the boundaries are divided on near the. It's also mostly difference of residential, cultural, and um what's it called, and commercial areas. One being like the storage areas have the storage areas like have different like uses for that boundary, which the entire row is mostly storage areas, and then the residential areas are also a boundary because most of them are just houses, and there's a definite corner. It feels like if you enter the residential areas, it feels like a more of a suburb, and then when you leave, there's a row of commercial areas. And commercial areas mostly make suck up the whole main roads of Arnais and Taft. Yeah. And yes, that's the division. And the again for the give me a sec. Again for the boundaries, it's the separable of the uh I didn't just use the walkways, but I also use the it's called like the dividing there's like tiny spaces where it divides. You can tell like if you look in the left and right, left it's like all residential, and then right it's all commercial. Um, the main Libertad edge, but then it also sets two boundaries. Is obviously the station. It's very important because that red line that I put for the Libertad, it represents that it divides the two places. Because it gives like a different feel of the causing like it that whole line causes like a divide for east and west. Well, you won't really feel it when you're there, but then if you start to realize the again from my first day of observation, the what's called the east side is the east side has more old houses, and then the west side has like newer buildings built. Um, for the next for the boundaries, the send like the for me the boundaries that connect or like that have connections through the walkways and like places where different people like make connections through the businesses and illegal shops and car shops are the central boundaries of the north, east, west, south of Arnais and Taft. One being the furniture shops in the west, the markets in the east, the restaurants and malls in the south, and then the north being car shops and Cartamart. It may be divided with different edges of the houses, which is seen using building alleys like yellows, the yellow signs I put in the next page. But it's somehow connected because it may be different boundaries, but then those boundaries overlap. Again, like I found a boundary like it looks like one boundary, but it's actually sub boundaries divided into different parts. Like it's not really connected, but then since they're all commercial, like it also overlaps, especially near the station. Um, For the for some reasons, there's some boundaries made man-made, or like depending on night and day. At night, the PNP officers put boundaries in the sides, like in the roads where you can't cross, or you have to walk. You have to drive to another lane, like another road path, just to get to like the east of Arnais. And then there's like where people don't respect the roads that are supposed to be passed through from different, like the walkways and edges. Cars parked there. There's illegal shops standing by, and obviously the main boundary of the LRT. It's somehow connected through the fact that there are boundaries made by man and there are boundaries made by LRT. But then the Libertad specialty is that the the network and the boundaries and edges are somehow connected using mostly commercial. And but then you can still tell that they'd still divide residential and commercial areas. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.